So we only have these two mics for today, so we're gonna have to hand it off.
That'll be good.
And do you want to hit it? Practice your intro.
What's going on, guys? We're Collab Real Estate. Welcome to our very first Collab podcast. I'm super excited. We're getting this done. We've been talking about it for a while. At the end of the day, we just want to be your real estate resource here in the area. We understand that there's a lot of news to take in when it comes to real estate, but we want to give you guys the 411 from real estate agents that work full-time, boots on the ground every single day. We're in this market. We understand how things are going. We see and can project how things are going to move forward. So here, to get it started, my name is Emmanuel Seppi. I'm a real estate agent of Collab Real Estate. We have
Mitch Del Rosario. What's up?
founder
Tony Vogt, partner, Alfredo Melendez. Follow me at Collab with Alfredo on IG.
So we're also missing AJ Del Rosario and Zahara Wong. Right now, they just had their first baby, so shouts out to them. Hope
Shout
you
out.
guys are enjoying this podcast. They'll be joining us at another episode. We're going to try to do this every single week, so stay tuned. So let's just get right into it. We've had a really busy couple of weeks and the past couple of months. This is Q1, second month of Q1, just came out of the winter season in Q4. Tell me, what have you guys seen in the market? Tell me some stories, if anyone wants to go first.
Anybody?
Right. You want to go first?
All right,
There's
let's go first.
too many stories running through my mind right now, but trying to think of one that's appropriate for the setting here.
Real estate stories, guys, real estate stories.
Well, I think things are quite interesting, and all I really know and see is how our team is moving. Going in from quarter four to quarter one, I think we all just had our foot on the gas, and things have been moving and going quick. And we're seeing a lot of action. On top of that action, we're battling for our buyers, again, seeing multiple offers. And our sellers, I just had two sellers sell their properties, and we were able to sell our properties off market before we even hit the market.
Yeah.
So obvious indications, I'd say, that things are heating up. It's just a matter of our sellers and buyers realizing that yet. So I guess that's our job to kind of communicate that and do our job to serve and provide the stats and what we're seeing. Right. Anybody want to take on?
Yeah, same thing. We thought that the first quarters starting beginning of the year is kind of slow, but we all see that the action on the second day of the new year. We have been in the on the ground almost every single day. We are actually, I see that even busier than last year actually. This year start quite too early for us actually. So right after the new year, we have a ton of activity showing, buying come back to the market. And we have a couple listing coming up as well. So, and also last 3 weeks actually, we see, ton of people come to the open house, and almost every single good listing, turnkey, is moving fast and multiple offer. Right. So my case, I got into a contract last night. So
Congrats.
compete with other 7 offer. So 8 offers total.
Wow.
For the starter home in East San Jose.
East San Jose.
Yep.
3 bedroom, 2 bath.
3-2.
So you said it's a starter home. So meaning that you versed 7 other people. There are 6 other people in that neighborhood, starter first-time home buyers looking to make a transaction this year, right?
Yep.
And just to kind of backtrack and kind of give some preface to people that may not have followed the market the past 2 years. 2020, 2021 was probably the craziest market, and it was kind of expected and unexpected in the beginning when the pandemic started. People thought that everything was just going to shut down, right? But what did that do? It only decreased the amount of inventory and options a buyer had, right? And adding on to that, the Fed needed to get people to consume, right? They wanted to keep the economy going, so they just dropped interest rates as low as 2%, which then also pushed people to continue to transact, right? Naturally, that was their plan. So money was cheap, people were ready to move forward, but then no one was selling their house because where are you going to go amidst the pandemic, right?
Right.
So prices just skyrocketed. It was the craziest market. We can all attest to this. This is probably the fastest we've ever had to work here. Once a buyer sent us a property, we had to go show it the same day, and they had to make a decision at that point, or they were just going to lose the house because there's for sure 10 to 30 other people ready to go. And then fast forward into kind of the tail end of the pandemic, COVID numbers started coming down. Things started going back. People started going back to work. Things started normalizing. The Fed decided that inflation was going to rampant. I think the highest was like 14% inflation, and they wanted to bring it down. So they increased interest rates, which was mid last year, like May, which basically put the market at a standstill, right? Because now buyers' payments are doubled. People were kind of just scrambling, didn't know what to do. Now we're also, end of last year experiencing layoffs and things like that. So coming into Q1 this year, people had like a 50-50 outlook, whether it's either going to be really good or it's going to be really bad. So fast forward into February, things are actually looking pretty competitive now, right? But not in the same regard as 2020 and 2021. I know you versed 7 other offers. I do want to ask you, do you feel like the price where you're landing at, do you think it's justifiable, or is it kind of crazy like 2021, 2022 prices where you couldn't find comps or anything like that to value the property?
I would say very much depend on the area.
Yeah.
This one is San Jose.
San Jose,
So
yeah.
I would say it's competitive, but it's not like crazy.
Okay.
It's I would say in the range of between 30 to 50,000 over. You have to compete with other people.
Okay.
In terms of pricing, but we were surprised both Emmanuel, not Emmanuel. Both Alfredo and me compete with one other started home listing. We list at under 900, and it's end up closing pending right now over 950.
950. Okay.
So that's almost, I would say, almost the same situation.
Got it.
Around 50K over.
Uh-huh.
But the one that Mitch and I get in contract last week, that was in Union City. That's a little bit different. So depend on the area.
Depends on the area. Yeah. I do see, in my opinion, that I agree with you. It definitely depends on the area. But last year we were seeing like 10, 20, 30% over the last home that sold. I know there was like situations in Gilroy. There was a new build. I don't think it was Eagle Ridge, but
KB Homes.
a KB Homes, literally each home that sold within a 3-month span was going up like 10% each time a house would sell. And that's not really realistic in real estate. And then now we're seeing those prices come down. Most of the time when I'm writing offers for my clients right now, you can at least find some comps. Right. And generally when you're competing, those other offers are also heavily considering those comps as well. It's less emotional is what I mean to say, I feel like.
Right.
There's something really interesting at this moment right now. Because technically right now, when we write the offer, the comp is hard to find.
Right.
For the past 3 months, it's literally there's not much sale in the neighborhood.
Right.
So we don't see the comp. But the influx of buyer now is make our job a little bit more difficult to in terms of finding the correct comp in order to submit the offer that competitive enough for the seller.
Right.
So the communication, I would say, negotiation, all the skill you have to pull out of your pocket at this time in order to get the price to get into contract.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly think we're in a good situation for a competitive style of market, because that's what we were doing for the past 2 years, right? Yeah. We had to learn and hone in on those skills on staying in front of the listing agent, getting valuable information to understand where do we need to put our buyer to succeed and get their offer accepted. That's what we're doing for the past 2 years. So.
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen coming back too is homes being listed for 10 to 20% under the actual market value, just to attract attention. Since the market's heating up right now, we're getting into the spring. That's kind of a thing that's coming back. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, right? Like that Dublin home that sold for 400,000 over, it was listed at 999, but all of the comps, that whole market is valued at 1415. Same thing happened in Fremont just the other day, listed at just over $1 million, and it ended up going for like 135.
50 offers.
Right. I just got off the phone with someone today in Santa Clara, that property over on Block Drive, 25 offers. It was only on the market for 6 days, I believe, 25 offers. And they ended up going about 250 over the ask price as well. So
really quick, I just wanted to backtrack to Alfredo's statement about homes being listed under market value again. So I want to ask Tony and Mitch, do you guys think that's a good strategy if you're representing the seller? Would you recommend doing that strategy? Tell us your 2 cents on that. Of course, as a buyer's agent, it's a little annoying to be a buyer's agent and they're being very vague about what the seller's expectations are, but it works in the seller's favor sometimes. So what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's all really a strategy, right? Our job is to test the market, and really depends on the home, what others homes we're competing against, on what strategy we should go with pricing the home. Sometimes I will recommend to the seller to kind of price towards asking. Maybe like a couple months ago, it was more realistic to kind of price it at what we wanted, right? And maybe come down. But still, I would still encourage some other sellers that, hey, we should price this lower for attraction. I know that Alfredo and we were brainstorming with one of our sellers we were working with. Why don't we just do a crazy blowout sell? And I know as frustrating as it is as buyer's agents to see this, we're thinking, why don't we just list it crazy low, 300, 400,000? See what's going to happen. We can't predict the market ourselves. But hey, if the seller's on board and we have good teamwork, good collaboration going, let's test the market. Let's see what we can do.
And get the maximum exposure, right? Because that's really what it's about, getting the most amount of people in the door to just see who's willing to step up, right? Yeah. So exactly. Cool. Tony?
Yeah, same thing. Just Mitch share with us. The tactic is always, if we have to test out to see what worked, what's not, and our job will report back to the seller. Of course, it's as a buyer agent, sometimes you have to do more homework in order to educate the buyer, make sure that, hey, the listing price is not really the selling price. We have to do that work. But, a lot of agents right now, because technically, some of the area they don't even know if a lot of buy in that area or not. They have to test it out the market. That's why you see a lot of under listing price in the market at this point. And we see that a lot of people say that it's have to be over 300 or 400. It does not really mean that that's how it's selling for over the market price, because that reflection at the current, the agent, when they submit the offer, they study about the market and they suggest that if the price is right at this moment in the market. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. I want to say that we're also like in a kind of weird time right now with all the uncertainty with tech jobs, right? All of these clients that we have that, are in the tech industry and are kind of on the fence if they're going to have a job within the next few months or not, right? So another thing to consider, if you are yourself on the fence about buying a home and you're not in tech, maybe right now is the best time to step up, because think about it, all these guys that are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year are a little shaky right now. You don't have that competition, but you wait it out another few months. Once they have their job secured, guess what? They're jumping back in the market, and now you have to compete against those deep tech pockets. So right now may be a good opportunity for a lot of you out there.
Yeah. And I also wanted to say, in Tony's mention about, we do see homes marketed as selling over asking price. But if you do really dive deep into the market, it's not too far off of what the last home sold. So keep that in mind. Definitely don't take a lot of the news out there with a grain of salt. A lot of the marketing out there saying that there's multiple 50 plus buyers at a home selling way over asking price. Take it with a grain of salt. Talk with one of us to figure out how many of those buyers really came up to the market value of that home, right? Or were they just listing at the asking price, which is 200K under asking? Or if we think that that valuation is justified. And we do offer free home valuations. So if you guys ever see a house that you like and want to learn more about what that house could sell for, let us know. We'll do that homework for you guys. Perfect. Let's talk about recent offer situations. I think a few of us submitted offers recently.
Yeah. It's not always a win. Yeah. One of my recent losses was actually on the same home that we were talking about earlier, Tampa, that home that had the foundation crack. So, we came in a little bit under the list price just because we thought that with the work that needed to be done to that foundation, we were looking at least 40 grand that needed to be done there. And so we let that reflect on our offer price. I comped the home out maybe just slightly over 900 during the peak market back in March, April. Things were going for, like $1 million, maybe high nines, low million. So we thought we were good. And then Tony came in that same day to the office. He's like, guess what? I just submitted an offer on Tampa. And I'm like, what? So he said, I'm like, where are you at? And he said 900. So obviously we were out of the race, right? My boy Tony is at 9. But then that whole situation happened where somebody came up over 950. Again, it's not all unicorns and rainbows and pots of gold in our pockets as real estate agents. We go through these battles, we go through these losses, but we also learn a lot in the process. And because we're constantly submitting offers, we're really knowledgeable when it comes to shopping with you guys or valuing your home when it comes time to sell.
I run into one agent submit 910 all cash on that house.
910 all cash.
910 all cash, and then he also lost.
Right.
But guys, the funny thing is always you see that different. I would say within my offer and Alfredo offer around, I would say around roughly about 30,000.
Right.
The other guy almost like 10,000 over mine. Right. So I would say the range is within that. I would say normal, 10 to 15 or 20.
Right.
30 is normal. But there's one guy just jump over 950, 951 around that range and they win. But hey, good luck with that guy. But if you are in the buyer's shoe, honestly, the closer we can get for you to win, the better. If you have your money to spend, I will not stop you. But that is our job to get your offer accepted, but at the price that, in the range, just not like huge number to win.
Right.
So work with those that really think about your situation, your family payment every month.
Right.
Is really, I would say those agents that, watch your back all day long.
Right.
I think just to piggyback on what Tony said, and Alfredo said, it's not always a win, but at the end of the day, we try to understand our client's situation and we let them fully disclose what's going on with the property. And we'll consult with you guys whether or not it may be a good property to take on a project, right? Because, most of the time foundation issues can be a really big money pit. Right? If you're not experienced enough, that buyer that moved forward probably has experience with foundation. They've dealt with projects like this before, so they can spend that extra budget. But we wouldn't recommend something like that for a first-time home buyer. If you do want to move forward, we'll make you a plan, right? If we get it at this price, we can do the repairs, and you'll walk away happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyone else want to share? I think Mitch had a few.
Yeah.
Mitch had a killer month, by the way. How many houses did you sell this month?
Pending and closed in this January should be about 6.
Only 6.
Only 6. The average agent sells, I think, 3 homes a year. So,
but it's been a wild month. I'm sure you guys hear all the wild stories and ride it's been.
Right.
And I will say a lot of the sales, or a good amount of the sales that I had gotten this month, came from just great networking and insight. One particular, and Tony was talking about, we got in. Tony just had the ins. He knew exactly where this home needed to be in contract with the seller to be sold. It was already in contract. He was great friends with the listing agent, and he said, hey guys, do you happen to have a buyer that may be interested in this property? And I actually have a buyer that I've been working with maybe 2-3 years, and they actually halted their search. I said, guys, check out this property. You got to look at it. They got their pre-approval that night. We saw it the next day. We wrote up the offer, and then we got in contract. Yeah. All right. And the greatest thing about that is, if we're talking about competition on the home, there were, 3 or 4 other offers on that property.
Yep.
And luckily, through this guy's ends over here, we were able to get our buyer in place of the buyer that fell out of contract there, and we're looking to close. Now, the stats on that one, it was listed for 1.3, and we are in contract. When are we releasing this? We still have time to close, but we're in contract about 1.4, and I just got great news literally last night. Wish my buyers the congratulations. We appraised. So great.
Fully renovated home.
Fully renovated home.
Fully
Absolutely beautiful home.
I would like to move in that house myself.
That's exactly what I told my clients. I said, guys, you know what? I'm feeling something here, and if this is something that I want to buy, I could wholeheartedly tell you, you guys should buy this house because it's a cool house.
I want you to share some insight, Mitch, real quick on those clients, because I think that it's really important for everyone to understand that we're in the business of building relationships over the transaction, right? Business is always going to be available. There's an abundance of it. And we really value building relationships with our clients and staying in touch, being your advisors for life, really. So can you shed some light onto, because these clients, you weren't like actively helping them, right?
Not this very moment, not right now. I was actively helping them like maybe about 2-3 years ago. But on top of that, speaking about relations, they were actually referred to me from clients that I helped sell their home in Hayward and then buy up in, I believe it's Castro Valley, right? So we bought up over there.
Right.
And they referred me these clients, and we've just been friends, and they check out my emailer blast, as well as they follow me on Instagram, and just so happened we realigned together to find this house, and boom, we're in contract.
Right. That's awesome.
And also talking about relationship, the contract that I just got in last night, the structure of your offer will make a difference. And also, the way that you communicate with a listing agent, sometimes, guys, this is free money. That the communication, when you talk to the listing agent, you can feel if you are in the top 2 or top 3. And from there, you can help your client to make the decision based on what you got and what your data that you got from the listing agent.
I had another one that's kind of interesting, the one on Ford, which we all closed today. Yep. Co-listing agent, Mr. Alfredo Melendez. Co-buyer's agent here, Emmanuel Seppi. This was an interesting one because I was working with the seller, and we had this very interesting property. Long story short, we needed a particular buyer, and going on about relations, the buyer I actually already had in my pocket. We went golfing, just told him about this property, this listing I just signed, and he was like, hey, I want more information about that property. At first I was like, sure, check it out. And then we actually went to view the property, and he was a strong, interested buyer.
Right.
Long story short, we got that one in contract, and boom, we were in contract.
So when the next time you golfing again?
I know, right? Let's go. It's golf season. Now with this, I do want to say is, educated buyer. He knew that the market is picking up, right? And he saw an opportunity. Now, also with the seller, she knew exactly what she wanted. So it's just divine connections, divine timing. They all met in great negotiations. Everyone walked away happy, and the great, market value is perfect for both of them. So,
and it all leads back to golf.
Don't
forget about that,
inches.
right? Pounding beers and selling homes.
There you go.
Keep it.
Mitch mentioned something that really important, guys. I don't think that you guys catching it, but we, as an agent, normally of course, when we have a lead and when we follow up, we call you guys, we ask a lot of questions. But that is our job to find out, what is your really need? What is your family looking for? So that just like the moment like that, we can just bring it up for you guys so that you can make a decision quickly. If we don't, normally, we don't even know where to send. In this case, my team and I, we offer a buyer consultation all day long and just book the calendar with us, whenever we are available. And if we don't, we will try to make it available for you guys in order for us to understand your need, your family need. So if we find deal like that, we just bring it to your pocket, just present it to you and your family. If it's right, you can make a decision quickly. Otherwise, right now the market kind of heat up a little bit. If you wait for that, probably get to the market, you guys know, you go to the open house, every weekend people line up in front of the beautiful home, turnkey. Most likely a lot of people will go there, and you will, I would say, you will stuck with what is called the marketing trap from the listing agent. And then you have to compete with a lot of other people, and you don't even know that you win or not. So that emotion, that time is really difficult. So if we can know upfront a little bit more about your need, sometimes we bring deal to you.
Yeah. I want to.
Can I say something? Yeah, one thing to go on that, and it's extremely important, right? We're in the business of service, and we need to know your goals, right? Now, this seller in this particular property, she lived in Portugal. So she needed someone here, white glove service, completely handle the whole transaction. And again, like I mentioned, there were particular things about this unit, this property that made it unique. We needed a unique buyer. So to service her and come through that regard of reaching that need and putting that all together, that's our job. That's exactly what we do.
Just backtracking on the fact that, we come by properties every single day. You had a deal where you reached out to your client that wasn't necessarily looking at the time, but you felt it was a good option for them. You got that info from Tony. You knew what price you had to be at. And it turned out you sent the client the home. And it turned out it was a fit for them, right? A lot of the time this happens, right? Not everyone wakes up and says, let me spend $1 million today, right? We understand that buying a house is a process. Sometimes you're just waiting for that right home, and we're okay with that. We look out for on the market every single day. And if we know your criteria, we will send you that home, whether or not you're looking, just in case you may be in the market or it may pique your interest. So I wanted to ask you guys, if I were someone that is, say, passively looking or just looking in general, and I want a local expert like you guys to send me properties that you feel will fit my needs, whether it's on or off market, what would I have to give you, tell you, share with you so I can be added onto that list?
I can answer, yeah. So, really just the basics, right? How many bedrooms, and also school ratings, right? Are you worried about those? If so, what school ratings are you looking for? Do you want to stay in a particular school district? We can filter these things down like so low that, to the point where you could basically find your ideal property by being on our filtered search, right? Because we can filter it down so much to the point where you're only going to get that quote unquote dream home that you're looking for, right? Square footage, right? Do you need a single story versus a 2-story home, right? And so on and so forth. Do you want it to be renovated? Do you want it to be in original condition? What type of style of home do you? I can keep going forever. So if you guys want to input before I just take over this whole section, which I don't mind, go ahead.
I think that most of my buyers, when I need to know their need, I need to know, hey, what is your mortgage comfortable level every month. So normally that is a key element that I ask my client, what budget you want to stick with, and then we can tell her from there. And also that I want to take on any minor renovation. So that's why sometimes we save a lot of money to get not a turnkey home, just cosmetic repair here and there. But sometimes the bone is good. Honestly, for me, that's what I mean. The bone is good. Everything else doesn't matter, right? There's some song like that. Yeah. But that is normally I really need to find out from my client.
Right. I think Tony brings up a really great point there. Even if you are looking passively, it's important to at least know what your budget is and what you want that monthly payment to be, because, you know, I don't want to be sending you $1 million house when you really want to be in a $3 million house that you can actually afford, right? So if we can at least establish that off the bat, and that's really easy to find out, right, guys? I mean, all you guys need to do is just tell us, like, more or less how much do you have for a down payment, what your income currently is, and a rough estimate of your credit score. And we can just give you a ballpark number or a ballpark figure of what your maximum purchase price can be by sending that info over to one of our trusted lenders. So yeah, great point there, Tony, with bringing it up. If we can at least have that piece, that's also going to enhance your search a lot more.
Along with needs, wants, goals, and budget, I will say what we need is really just loyalty. Right? I just want to know, am I your sole agent, right? If you prioritize me to go and get you your home, I will go get you your home. If you just kind of meet with me and say, hey, well, you know, I want a 3-2 bedroom, you know, go get it. And then I'm asking you, well, do you have other agents working with you? Yeah, you know, they're sending me properties too. Then I'm just not going to prioritize you, bottom line. Right. Now with this, we'll take it to the Union City example. We had that 1-4 property, I could have sent it to a good amount of other buyers, right, but I specifically chose the buyers that I have a great connection with, who have prioritized me throughout the years, right? So it's really about that loyalty, that trust. We're in the relationship business, and we're here and we're trying our hardest to build relationships with all of you, and we're just hoping that you guys give us the chance to give your trust in us, right?
Key element is sometimes we have property for you guys, but we don't have everything ready. Doesn't matter if the property is good deal or not. You know, you cannot get it. The situation we have to require us to move fast in order to get it. So normally that's what we really want, to work with you, know your need, and honestly, you know, get a pre-approval with a trusted lender. If needed, you know, you can always go back to our lender and get things moving quickly. And that's exactly what happened with our client in Union City. Yep. They have everything. So the moment is right, when we send you the right property and you have everything ready, you can make a decision. You can go out, take a look. If the right home is fit for your family, you can make a quick decision and we can get you into the door.
Cool. So basically, if I'm a buyer and I'm ready to be loyal to you guys, right? You guys are my trusted resource. All I would need is...
I'm your agent.
There you go.
I am your agent.
There you go. At the end of the day, we understand that it makes logical sense to have multiple people looking for you. But at the end of the day, most of the time, you only need one really good local expert, like one of us, to really guide you through that process. Because at the end of the day, we do much more than just see what's out there on the market. We keep our ears to the ground of what deals may be falling through that you can swoop up. What listings do we have coming up that may fit your needs? What upcoming listings that other agents have, right? So these small opportunities is where you as a buyer can join us and be our loyal customer, and we'll give you that service, right?
I want to add on one thing, and I always say often is your network is your net worth, right? When you're hiring us and all these great things that Emmanuel mentioned, really you're also hiring just us and our network of everybody we know, and honestly, a lot of power in this back end of our team. So that's just something I want to chime in there and sprinkle on.
Yeah, so to continue, just bedroom, bathroom, what neighborhoods do you want to live in? How close do you need to be to your lifestyle, right? Work, favorite restaurants, schools that you prefer, your budget, and also, are we going to be your loyal agent? So
another big one too is like, how long do you plan on actually keeping this property?
Keeping the property.
Because, it doesn't have to be your forever property.
Is it going to be an investment property, a primary residence? These are things that we'll take into consideration. If something comes by our desk, you are one of the people that we will send those listings to. If you're interested, great. If not, we'll keep looking, right? I wanted to touch on open houses, right? So I think we all know how crazy open houses are right now. I just wanted to get some stories from you guys. What have you guys seen lately? Some open houses that really surprised you, or maybe dead open houses that you've seen so far. I guess I'll start off really quick. There was a house in Dublin on Sola Court. Everyone knows about it. It was listed 350K under market. And it was a really attractive price for anyone that was looking in Dublin. If you saw that online, you're like, holy shit, there is a single family home in Dublin under $1 million. Let's go see it. I went to go with my buyer. We always do comps beforehand, so we understood that it may be listed low. We just wanted to see, maybe it's missing a roof or something that we could take advantage of, right? Walk up to the home. There's tons of people outside. There's like a line of 20, 30 people outside. The house looked fine to us. So honestly, my buyer's budget was not in the range that we knew it would sell for. So we just turned around and walked away because it was just way too high, and it was not worth that competition. And we would have just been wasting our time. But what have you guys seen so far? I know, Tony, you've seen a few, and Alfredo.
Yeah, just most recently, this past weekend was out in Los Gatos and also Willow Glen. So for Los Gatos property that we were at, listed at around 1.65. Obviously, it's one of I believe it's the lowest listed home in Los Gatos right now, but it does need a ton of work. I mean, this is a complete gut job if you read the inspections. Needs a new roof, foundation has some huge cracks in it, but there was a ton of action. I mean, I got there about 15 minutes before my clients did and just walked the property a bit. And between those 15 minutes, between the time they got there, I saw about 10 groups just show up and take a glance at the property, because the neighborhood is actually really, really awesome. And the after repair value for a house like this is somewhere in the 2.5 range, right? If you do it right. So I think that those types of homes are receiving a ton of action, something that is, needs some renovations done. Apologies. Something that needs renovations done and is priced really, really well is going to, have a lot of action around it. Right after that house, we actually went up to tour another one about 5 minutes down the road. And this was a complete 180. It was fully renovated, designer upgrades. It's like, it almost felt too nice that you were going to be walking on eggshells the whole time, really. It was about a $3 million home. And my clients didn't like it just because, for one, it didn't really match their style, and two, it just wasn't in the right location at that time. But kind of veering off track here, that house, we showed up and there was about 20 other parties in there with us, and it's only a 1,700 square foot home. So we were kind of shuffling around, and so, I mean, again, I think where we're at in the market right now, there's just a ton of action everywhere. If it's beat up and there's some value to be made after the repairs are done, then you'll have action. And if it's turnkey, fully renovated, magazine ready like that one, there's also going to be a ton of action around it.
So I have a couple really active clients right now. There's one in Fremont, one in Santa Clara, and one in Sunnyvale. And I released this guy, agent. If you watch this video, you're welcome. Santa Clara, activity in Santa Clara is just crazy. Mm-hmm. A lot of buy in Santa Clara right now. So I would say home price around 1.3 to 1.6. It's moving quickly. I have a really active client right now in Sunnyvale. A couple of spots in Sunnyvale right now is also not so hot, but can get some good deal right now under $2 million. And the one in Fremont is just not a crazy area. So if you're a little bit flexible, we can also suggest which area we should target to, right? If you're not really have the boundary that you really have to stay in that area, then a lot of different areas that offer almost the same house, almost the same square feet that your family need, but it may be better in terms of pricing. So if you're open, just let us know.
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of buyers are coming back into open houses. They want to see, at the end of the day, these are big numbers for open houses, but it doesn't mean that all 20, 30, 40 of those people will be submitting offers. Sometimes there is, right? But it just goes to show that people are looking to get active. I know in Q4, generally things slow down. We were hosting open houses and it was dead, right? Like holiday season, no one coming to the open house. We'd be sitting there for 4 hours by ourselves, But now it is starting to pick up, and that's good news for a lot of these sellers. But for buyers, it means that you will have some competition. Going to open houses too, just a buyer tip, is a good way to gauge the competition for a home as well. Just like we're talking about, if you're interested in learning more about the market as a buyer, maybe just go to a few open houses and see how many people are going there. You'll have an idea of what people are looking for, and you can also see what kind of buyers are there as well, right? And who you may be competing against. So a tip there. I do want to ask you guys another question. Do you think it's beneficial for a buyer to go to an open house when they want to go buy a property, or take a private tour? What would you prefer, going on a private tour or a buyer go to the open house?
Private tour all day.
This is my normally this is what I told my buyers. If you can spend almost like 15-20 minutes with me, sometime I can save you up to like $50,000.
Oh, it's a good tip. That's a good tip.
So if
Bleep that out. Bleep that out.
So if you really want to go to open house, go do it actually. But I would say if you go to open house, most likely you will be compete with a lot of buyers for sure. But if you can go with a private tour, and some of the property that is not on the market and only available, we only share within our really client. Sometimes you can save a lot of money.
So what you mean by that is, generally houses get listed on a Thursday or a Monday, and then they go through that whole week and then hit open house on the weekend. The seller will see how the open house went and maybe set an offer due date, or see how, who came in the open house, try to follow up with them and see if they have any offers. But you're saying you can save money if you do a private tour before the open house, right? So within those few days that the property is listed and it's something that you really like, it may be better to do a private tour rather than just to wait for an open house, because you may submit an early offer if the seller is willing.
Or
right?
someone else may submit an early offer.
Yeah, or someone else may submit an early offer. Some in the hottest market, and we're seeing that come back, is people are doing these private tours right when the home gets listed, and maybe submitting an offer that same day because they've been searching for the past year or so. Don't always expect that everyone that walks into a house, or each buyer, this is their first rodeo, right? Or their first market search. A lot of the times they've been looking for 1 to 2 years. We know it takes a while to make a decision. So some people, they're ready to pull the trigger right away, and you need to compete with those kinds of people.
Yeah. So the one that I just get in contract last night.
Yeah.
That's one I showed my client before that one gets to the market.
Yeah.
And we submit an offer. Actually, we submit before, they have an open house.
Right.
So technically, I showed them. This is just for internal. It is just internal training. So I showed them before the house get to the market. So I know this one before, right?
Right.
And we submit an offer just before they even have the open house. The agent said, "No, Tony, I'm not gonna accept your offer."
Yeah.
My buyers have a little bit title issue that we need to figure that out. Should we put it on the trust or under two name? So I say, it's okay. You can take as long time as you want to, but if you decide to take any offers, please let me know. My buyer really, like the house. And this is exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah.
There's some work, but they're capable of. The brother and the father are gonna jump in and help them to remodel the house. And technically, guys, I told Alfredo this morning, that's one. The highest offer is $755.
Oh wow.
I am in a contract for $745.
Oh wow.
That is
So
10,000 under.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack with whatever I told before.
Right.
Sometimes I save you $50,000 for the deal, but this case I save my clients $10,000.
Awesome. There you go. So I'll take it as, we're cutting in now. I'll take it as do the private showing for sure. If you guys are interested in the home, let us know. We work in the area where we love driving, right? If that you seeing the house before everyone else may make a difference between competing against people or not, and or paying more than you actually need to, right, to meet the seller's expectations. So open houses are okay if you're just testing out the market and you want to get a better understanding. But once you're ready and you want to pull a trigger and you want to remain competitive, do the private showing. And you don't have to worry about bumping into people. We do open houses sometimes, and we watch people all the time. You can tell that people are like anxious. Not everyone is like extroverted and they're like open like us. You see people like walking around each other. They're like judging each other a little bit. They're scared to open the doors. They're scared to look in places. But when you do private showings, we tell people, if it's vacant especially, treat it like your own house. You can play house for like 30 minutes for all we care. Just live out how you would live in the house, and it just gives you more time to have a better experience in the property. Why do you think now is the time where these buyers are coming back, where prices are I guess, increasing and or stabilizing? In your honest opinion, why do you think this is happening right now?
I've been saying it since probably the end of last year. Is right around February, everyone's just going to get used to the rates, right? And as they stabilize, we're just going to understand that the norm is going to be around that 5, higher 5 towards the 6, and then we're going to have an increase in the market. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. And there's been a huge increase of loan applications.
Yeah.
All our lender partners have been telling us. So it's just a matter of time that these are going to hit, maybe, let's say 2-3 months in the next coming months. So that's my read. That's my take. I'm prepping and working hard right now for a hot year.
Right. I think Emmanuel was talking about like real estate coming in cycles, right? And that's what we have. The peak was right around last March, I feel like, and then interest rates rose, and April, May, everybody got hit, right? So I feel like the bottom, it really bottomed out maybe around December leading into this January, and just, the first 2 weeks of January, things started picking back up, right? We started seeing multiple offers, home selling X amount over asking price, open houses being packed to the brim. So I feel like the very bottom of it is already behind us, and now we're on our way back up. So, the rest of the year is definitely going to be a really, really busy time. And if you're in the market right now, I feel like, this month may be the best month to get in right now.
Yeah. And also, I think that we talked about this, but we didn't mention earlier. Last year, by October to December, a lot of flippers get hurt so bad. They don't even want to take any property at
with
that
their
time.
pants down. Yeah.
So right now, I think we have slim windows of the investor not really compete with the real buyer at this moment.
Right.
So the moment that they feel that the market is heat up again, most likely when the interest rate lower, they will able to get their hand into those little bit lower interest rate. They will gonna go out and grab property again, and they're gonna flip again. So most likely that's also a big factor as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good one, because I have been seeing a lot of renovated properties just all of a sudden springing up, on the market. Last night I just showed one with one of our friends out in East San Jose, and they've been holding off since, I believe, last June is when they picked that property up, right, for somewhere in the 700s. And lucky for them, they were able to hold on to it up until now, and they basically timed the market perfectly. They noticed that, putting it up in October, November, December just wasn't going to yield what they needed. And a lot of investors are in that boat right now, right? But then there's also those investors that have been holding on to the property for years, or maybe not years, but multiple months, and all of those payments are coming at them now, right? So those are the ones that are really motivated to just let the properties go.
So Mitch was talking about how interest rates were hiked up. Now they're starting to stabilize, and that's why we're seeing an increase in mortgage applications, right? Tony mentioned that there's a lot of investors that may have backed out in Q4 because they didn't want to compete with higher interest rates, but now they may be coming back. And also, what do you guys think about the inventory? Do you think the lack of inventory is also playing a role too? I think so, right?
Yeah, so as of today, I did the market study a little bit earlier. This week we have almost 832 single-family home, and condo, townhouse in Santa Clara County, but 230 get into the contract. So technically, more than 1/3 of the property get into the market get sold quickly. So the inventory is increased a little bit, but the moving part of buyers ready and they just get it into contract also quickly.
Right.
So talking about another 600, around 600 available single family home, condo, and townhouse in the whole Santa Clara.
We're talking about 900 houses for millions of people, right? So there's definitely a lack of inventory given our population. And I think, and that's how our market is, right? That's why our prices are so high. All cities are like that because there's just not enough land to be built upon and housing for the amount of population. And I think a lot of people think the inventory thing is overspoken and overrated, but it's the truth, right? There's literally just not enough land, and the cost to build is so expensive that you're always going to have a lack of inventory in this market. And then when you add the fluctuation of decreasing interest rates, people are ready to move forward. And then add on top seasonality trends, right? I think seasonality was completely, there was no seasonality of the market. It was just go, go, go all year round because money was cheap, right? People were willing to not go on vacation, spend the holidays looking for a house and finding ways to invest because everyone was doing it, right?
Right.
And that plays a big role in how the market moves too, is how is the media portraying the current situation, right? And the past in Q3 and Q4 when everything was going to shit, that's all the media was talking about is that, inflation's too high, they're going to increase mortgage rates and all these rates are going to go up to ease inflation. There's going to be a huge crash due to this. Stock market's going to be very volatile. Everyone was saying that there's a crash, but at the end of the day, a lot of real estate professionals were just holding on to the fact of lack of inventory, and you're seeing the reality of that now, right? Where's the crash, right? People were saying the market's going to crash. It's definitely not crashing. We're seeing hundreds of people going into open houses, so that's definitely not the case.
Right.
And then touching back on seasonality, it was dead for the past 2 years, but we truly see that it's coming back now because everything is starting to stabilize. It's more of a normal market. Pre-pandemic, interest rates were like around 5%, 6%, where that's going to start being the normal is what I feel. And then once the news starts to show positive things like they are now, mortgage applications are up, unemployment's at an all-time low, stock markets are recovering. Now the market's going to stabilize. We're going to see the seasonality, which is what we're seeing now. In Q4, people would rather go on vacation than buy a house at 6% interest rate. And now we're seeing all of that pent-up demand, which usually happens, come into Q1. Interest rates have come down. Now everyone's out looking at houses, looking to buy and sell. But then there's still that lack of inventory where we're seeing home prices come up. And talking about Tony's point about investors and the amount of inventory available, there may be 900 homes on the market, but how many of those homes are actually homes that people would want to buy, right? We know a lot of the times people sell because they are in a distressed situation. The home may not be up to, they've owned the house since the 50s or 70s and they have a lot of equity and they just want to sell, but the house is not in good condition. So it's very rare that we find turnkey properties from investors and stuff like that. And those are the homes in good locations. Those are the homes that are going to be super competitive. And yeah, that's why I think we're also seeing that crazy uptake in demand. And we're probably going to see it for the rest of the year, right? So, which leads me into my next question. What do you guys expect to see for the rest of 2023 in terms of real estate? And we can talk about it month over month or all year.
What do I plan to see for the rest of 2023? Well, as of right now, inventory is low, just to chime in on what you were talking about. But along with that, I still think buyers are still living in the past where they're kind of picky, right? So along with that, when they do find a home that is all fixed up and turnkey, everybody's finding that home.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
what's causing that surge, right, of all these long lines, these open houses, and these crazy 300,000 over asking prices, right?
Right.
Now, what I predict for the rest of the year, my personal opinion, being boots on the ground in the field, I'm feeling it's hot. Yes, we're looking at the stats and we could share the stats, but I feel it's hot. When I send out a good offer and I lost, I'm like, holy shit, it's hot, guys.
Yeah.
Like it's getting warm, right? And we could convey that, we could send that message out to our clients, but if you're not understanding that soon enough, you're going to be late, right? And I don't mean to fear monger. I'm not trying to say buy right now. So I really feel it when I'm looking out for the people that I represent. We got to get a house, guys.
Right.
If you are looking right now, and if I'm going to do the best representation to make you a good investment, we got to do it now.
The numbers don't lie. I mean, the average single family home in Santa Clara County over the past 4 years has appreciated anywhere between $300,000 to $400,000, right? In the course of 4 years. This is pre-pandemic. I just did a little analysis on this the other day, sent it over to one of my clients, but just goes to show the time is whenever you're ready, right? It's whenever you're ready to handle that monthly payment. But just know, if you're buying here in the Bay Area, you're going to see a ton of appreciation over the course of the next 10, 15 years, right? Like I said, COVID did hit us. That did kind of inflate these numbers a good amount. So for those of you who are out there home shopping, just know, like, some of these sellers, they really don't have to sell. I mean, like I just mentioned, they're sitting on $300,000-$400,000 or more in equity. So, speak with your agent, talk with them, create a game plan, and come up with a good offer that's going to meet the seller at least at market value, and kind of negotiate from there, right? Know your numbers.
And also, I would like to mention that all the data, when you hear the moment it hit to you, I would say almost like 2 or 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
The moment, all the software, all the people out there, when they do the data analysis, they wait for the data they gather the data and it's already dated. So we are in the market almost every day. So if you want to, to know the current market, the condition, just call us, just reach out to us, right? And also, there's one thing I would like to say that we've been mentioned a lot about buyers, but seller, if you think now is a good time to sell, because a lot of buyers are on the market right now, I would say if I had a property that I'm ready to sell, now may be the good time to sell and just grab that buyers when a lot of buyers on the market.
So I do want to ask, you guys keep the mics, but I do want to ask, so in terms of what you expect for 2023, do you think the bidding wars will continue? Do you think there'll be more buyers? Do you guys think there'll be more inventory? What do you guys think? For both buyer and seller, I guess this advice would help.
I feel like there is going to be an influx of inventory, right? We're heading into like spring, summertime. Yeah. So historically, there's always going to be an influx of inventory going into the summer. Yeah. And then the slowdown happens again leading into the holidays, where everybody kind of wants to hold on to their homes. But I feel like the summer is going to be really hot. We will see multiple offers, on properties. And then again, I feel like November, December, it's going to come back down, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's also important to just keep an eye on interest rates. Interest rates will kind of dictate that. But to that point, buyers already saw what happened, right? I think this first wave in spike of interest rates, everybody kind of was like, whoa, let me step back. I'm going to hold off and just wait for interest rates to pull back. Now that they're pulling back, those same buyers are kind of kicking themselves in the ass, because they're like, shit, I should have bought when they were high. Now I have all this competition. Yeah. So I feel like we will have another wave, maybe another spike in interest. But by that time, these buyers that are serious have already experienced that shock, right? Yeah. They'll know, like, hey, we've already been through this. Let's go ahead and buy when interest rates are high and there's less competition, versus waiting again for them to come back down and having to go up against multiple
a
offers.
lot of those buyers could have bought high, and then interest rates are down from 6% to 5%. You could have refi,
Right.
right? So
And we've been in this market long enough, guys. We've seen this all year long, right? The moment that everyone is buying, everyone is gonna jump in and buy. I would say that buy with control your emotion, right? When your family really need it, just talk to us or talk to someone that you can trust, and get it ready. And we see this all day long, in terms of listing as well. Couple weeks, almost a month ago, when you talk about listing, a lot of agents say that no buyer come to the open house, but it's just like last 3 weeks, everything just like the table just turned another 180 degrees.
Yeah.
A lot of people just influx, just try to get to the market because the interest rate is just like went down really low right now. I would say some 30 years, somewhere out there, you can get under 5% right now, right? So people are gonna go back because it's always like that. The interest rate lower, more buyers, and interest rate a little bit higher, less buyer.
But I think overall, to your take, Tony, at the end of the day, there's no houses to choose from to begin with, right? So there's always buyers out there, but you just need to get in where you fit in and work with a realtor that is able to find opportunities for you, whether it's off market or on market. But I agree with you guys. I think this year is going to be more of a stable market, but it is going to be hot because we have no houses to sell, right? There's not enough inventory. People, our clients like to say that, Fremont's going to go down in value, but, Los Gatos or Cupertino, Sunnyvale, these are small areas. These are not huge cities. We're not like Texas, right? Where we have very small, square footage and lot sizes, and there's way more people than there are homes. So we do expect, and on top of that, the news is showing good right now, right? Everyone is positive on the news. Everyone and their friends are going to be buying houses, and you're going to be caught in the middle of this year. You're going to be caught in the mix with so many other buyers. I honestly think that the window to being the only offer on the table is almost gone, right? You maybe have until spring, or best case scenario for you as a buyer until summer, but honestly, it's probably closed. I know Tony had a deal in the Rose Garden, which is one of the nicest neighborhoods in San Jose, but he was the only buyer, right? And this was during the slow time. More than likely, if they were to relist that property, you're going up against 10, 15 people, and that's all across the board, right? So this is just something to expect. You could still work around being competitive in competitive markets, but I truly do think the window of being the only offer on the table, it's almost gone. Great, awesome, guys. I think we basically covered it all. I wanted to open this question up. Last question: where do you guys see some opportunity for people? Is there anything that you would want a buyer out there to keep an eye out for on maybe how to strike a deal, or whether it's looking into places where you may be able to fit a discount? One thing that I would say to buyers out there is know your numbers before. If there's any room in your purchase where after you pay your down payment, you can maybe spend 50 to 80K in renovations, go for houses that need some light fixing, right? We'll make sure that the house is good structurally, the roof is good, plumbing, electrical is good. Maybe it just needs a new coat of paint with some flooring. There's definitely some opportunity there. Most buyers want a turnkey home, so this may be an opportunity to be one of a few offers. We have contractors, a part of our company, that can go out and do the work for you guys, of course, provide quotes beforehand. So if you have that extra wiggle room in your budget, you may be able to get a 5 to 10% discount on that property, put in 50 to 60K into the home, and then gain that added appreciation afterwards. So that's where I truly see there's some opportunity, and that's where we can guide you. Anyone else want to shout out some opportunities?
Some opportunities and just some guidelines. Opportunities first, I would say high days on market. Easy indicator that if you see something high days on market, shoot out an offer,
Yeah.
right? Sellers more open and going to entertain you, right?
Yeah.
One other thing I want to say is just a great guideline is if it's 70% of your needs and wants checklist, shoot an offer, right? I know we want to get 100% off, 100% of our list checked off of what we want. But realistically, in the Bay Area, it is tough, guys. It is tough to buy. We had our small window where it was somewhat a little bit easier, but if it's 70%, shoot an offer, right? Let us do the work, figure out if we can get it into your price, but shoot that offer.
Right. My recommendation for buyers shopping in today's market is, to Mitch's point, if you find something with the perfect layout, then just kind of stick with it, right? If it has good bones, it has the layout you want, we can always bring in the contractors and give you different design ideas so that you can finish it up and put your own touch on it, right? Especially if it's been on the market for a good amount of days. That poses a great opportunity. Definitely know your market value because that's going to be ammunition in your pocket when it comes time to negotiate the price, right? We're actually going to have comps to go based off of versus just going based off of emotion and what the news is telling you nowadays, right? On the selling side, I will say if you're trying to sell your home, pay attention to your competition, right? Don't focus on last year's prices. Don't even focus on yesterday's prices. Why? Because those buyers don't exist. Those buyers already bought that house. That was yesterday's price. Focus on your neighbor or whoever else is listing in your neighborhood and see how that house compares to yours, and we'll go based off of that, right? And so on and so forth. So those are my 2 cents on what to do if you're trying to buy or sell in today's market.
And also, we already talk about this. Just let us know what you really need. We run into our market all day long. Sometimes, we can send it to you. Sometimes a lot of sellers out there, they had a situation that they need to sell quickly. We just got into one deal in Gilroy, and it's exactly a situation. The seller had to sell quickly. So just let us know when you're ready, and we just, can present those deals to you guys.
Cool. Appreciate you guys. This is a wrap for the first Collab podcast. Thank you guys for joining. I think, we were able to share some our insight. We'll continue on sharing our boots on the ground 411 on information to you guys. We want to make sure you guys are well informed so you can have the most information and make the best informed decision on one of the biggest moves you'll ever make in your life. Let us know if you guys have any questions. Peace. Peace.
Thank you.